Hey, how's it going? This is a sequel to the other video I made about electrolysis and stuff. Thanks to Jed Skeptic Media for showing up and talking to me and stuff. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna have to pause the recording here and there to look at my notes. As lame as that is, it will ensure that I don't forget stuff I want to talk about. So let's start off with what I was saying to Jed on the other video, which is that you don't need religion to tell you right from wrong. Your gut will tell you that. And there's only really needs to be one rule: don't steal, because like when you're taking a life, you're stealing. So on and so forth. And if there's someone who is not able to tell right from wrong, then a religion probably isn't going to help them anyways. Like, everybody has the right to life as long as they're not hurting other people and shit. So let's talk about regular Christians versus like bigot shoot Christians. So I'm gonna put a link in the description to my bigot shoot, so you can go check that out if you want. It's a cornucopia of extra content. And one of the videos over there, I made a video about this guy who is a Christian. He's on there, he's actively telling his subscribers to unalive people that don't conform to like his Christian values or something. He's like telling people to go unalive like feminist leaders and all kinds of shit like this. Like, what the fuck? So there's a whole spectrum of people like that on Bigot Shoot, that they're Christian and they think that the only people who should be allowed to live are like white heterosexual people or something. And there's like so many different Christian variants. Like, if someone told me that they were Christian, I'd be like, well, can you explain more about what that means to you? And I am subscribed to Validation Boy. You wouldn't think I would be. You wouldn't think I'd be into that, but I guess I like people that have controversial... God, I'm a little drunk. I like people that have controversial... I can't say that word, controversial opinions. And I don't think Validation Boy, like, he thinks that white people are like the master race or whatever. He's like, he is a white supremacist. But I don't really have a problem with someone believing that, as long as they're not put in a position where they can disadvantage other people. Or if they are in a position where they can, as long as they are not disadvantaging other people, then I don't really give a shit what people believe. So let's lead into another thing I was thinking about. You know, people on Bigot Shoot, you'll always hear people say shit about how George Carlin was a race traitor. I mean, he had kids. He made more white people. And I disagree with that statement in the first way, that like that there's not different races. Like, you take a 18-year-old Chinese man and a 18-year-old German woman, they can have a baby. You know, you can crossbreed all kinds of different variations of humans, and they can have a baby together. So what that suggests to me is that we're the same race, which is variations of the same race. So anyways, like I'm kind of like mixed up. I got some red bone in me. I got all kinds of stuff in me. I come from black people, like a certain amount of people ago. So I got lots of different stuff in me. So like, this is a question I was thinking of like posing. So okay, let's say like we have ourselves a societal meltdown of sorts, and some white like Christian nationalist people get in charge of the survivors inside the American Empire, and I'm rounded up, and you know, they're gonna make me breed more white people or something. I'd be like, well, you know, I'm not completely white. I've got like other stuff to be. So like, okay, am I a race traitor for not making more white people, breeding more white people? Or would I be a race traitor if I did have children, because I'm making more watered down white people that have, you know, not as Caucasian or whatever? And this shit's fucking retarded. astounding. But like, this is all these big issue people think about. Like, they're so obsessed over this kind of shit. It's kind of crazy. Alright, let's take a break. So I forgot to say in the beginning, this is mostly just for me, because I've been like pretending to be normal for 30 plus years. This video and the one before it, mostly just for me to just talk about this shit, because I've just been pretending to be normal for so fucking long. So let's talk about how I'm gonna go all over the place. I'm gonna talk about my personal problems. I'm gonna zip and zoom back to all kinds of different fucking topics here, but let's get the fucking hard stuff out of the way. Let's talk about how you could argue that I was a trans kid. So let's talk about that. So this first one, I don't actually remember this. This is what my mother told me. So I had, like, when I was like 1.5 years old or something like that, I had a kid's book, and like one of the pages in the kid's book was Feel Daddy's Face, and it was like sandpaper for the daddy's face. Apparently that would make me cry and be really fucking unhappy. There's a lot right there. It's like, oh god, not another lifetime where I'm going through this shit. And I'm gonna go all over the place here. That leads me to another thing I was thinking about recently, which was that, I'm sorry if there's wind noise. I wanted to go do this in the birdhouse, but we're in the burnt down bigot shoot house because there was somebody at the birdhouse. So I'm gonna try to stand over here in this burnt down closet and get back in the closet. I'm doing what the bigots want. I'm getting frightened back into the closet, even if though it's burnt down, I can see the sky through it, whatever. So this thing I was thinking about is maybe we're supposed to remember our past lifetimes, because that way, you know, you just be like, whatever, I'm a man this time, I'm a woman this time, who gives a fuck? Because you've been each one so many fucking times that whatever you are, you just don't give a fuck. You deal with it and you live your life. Because that's the thing, it's like, I don't see how I'm supposed to have like a respectful relationship with a woman. I can't understand what they're going through physiologically or mentally, any of that shit. You know, it's just, that's the point of heterosexual relationships, is chaos, you have kids. I'm not gay though, like, I'm not. I was like an effeminate child. And then we'll get back to that, like I had hairy legs from like really early on. And I remember one time when I was like 6 years old, I was like putting my mom's hair conditioner on my legs. I was like, that was the best thing I'd think of as a kid, to try to make my leg. I want to make my legs smooth like my mother's. Let's see what else. And one time I was wearing a tank top. I had like some basketball tank tops, because that was like the closest thing to like women's clothes I could think of, and it was like perfect because it's like something more feminine to wear, but it's like, you know, won't be recognized as such. And then let's talk about my father. The dude clearly had like the same thing I had. I got it fucking passed down to me, because he always enjoyed cross-dressing. One time he showed up to school when I was like the 6th grade. I don't think it was even Halloween or anything. He showed up dressed as a woman, and everybody fucking saw, and he picked me up, and everybody fucking saw. And that was like the worst thing ever in the 90s. But now I think back at that shit, maybe he was trying to fucking crack my egg. Maybe he was trying to be like, hey, you probably have this shit, so, you know, you should probably figure that shit out sooner in life. Like, the way I see it, like, okay, let me put it this way, like, my meat sack body is, you know, normal, it's attracted to women, but I'm not into that shit. Like, it's an annoyance to me. Like, I don't even like having an erection or anything like that. It's just the whole experience of this fucking man body. I just don't really like it at all. And I wish I'd been more honest with myself about that shit, because I was looking up like trans shit when I was like, first had internet access when I was like 13, 14. And shit scared the shit out of me. And it's just like, I was like, you know, I don't want to be like fake and shit. But then again, it's like, I've been pretending to be fucking normal for so long that I think I'm being less real to myself than if I just did the fucking hard thing. Because I think that if I was if puberty hit and it released estrogen instead of testosterone, I think I'd be perfectly fucking fine with what it would do to me psychologically and physically, because I was never like into female attention. I never like sought out female attention. It was always just kind of like awkward and shit. So let me tell this story. It was like a couple years ago. There's this chick on the side of the highway. I'll call her Sasquatch Girl. Not because she was hairy, because she was just kind of big, you know? Like a Sasquatch. She was kind of Caucasian, Mexican hybrid. Not that that matters, just a description. She was like on the side of the road, and I picked her up so she wouldn't get a ticket or get arrested for, you know, being on the freeway like that, or get killed. So I pick her up, and I made the mistake of explaining that I didn't have anything to do, and I didn't have, you know, like a fucking girlfriend or anything. Oh, hold on, I gotta pause the recording. I got a sticker in my leg. Ow. Okay, we're back. So I pick up this girl, you know, I'm talking to her, and she pretty much tried to like take me, like hijack me, forcefully make me her boyfriend, sort of thing. And I was just like, she was being kind of slutty too. Just like, I'm just not interested in that. Because let me put it this way. Here's another thing I wanted to get into too, which is that I've considered, that's another thing. That's why I didn't want to, you know, do all this shit to myself when I was 13, 14, because I thought, you know, maybe I'll meet a woman, maybe I'll have a kid, you know, maybe. Nope. And it stings where this damn sticker was in my leg. They hooked like barbs, like the cactus barbs growing out of my face and my nutsack, but like external. Anyways, I long considered like if I'd ever have a child or not, and the conclusion I always came to when I thought about it, it's my conclusion I go by now, is that it's like, no, I would not have a kid, because everything I've gone through in my life has just been fucking let me put it this way. Having my consciousness trapped in this meat suit has been such a negative experience that I would not wish it on anyone. I don't have the cruelty to bring a child to this world where it's nothing but pain and suffering, and they're going to have to work some meaningless job at McDonald's for the rest of their life, probably. Because it's like, it's my way of voting no. Voting no of this abuse of being trapped in a meat sack, buddy. That's my way of voting no, is not bringing more of that shit. Because, like, they'd have to wear glasses, they'd have a bunch of crooked teeth, and who knows what other kind of fucking problems. So I don't even want to, like, have sex, even with someone who couldn't get pregnant for one reason or another. Because it's the act of ejaculation. Just no, ew. I'm so against this fucking torture of this meat body realm that I don't even want to shoot my load out, man. Like, because it's sort of like, I don't know, virtue signaling to the fucking universe, and I don't want to fucking do that shit. It's gross. But you know, I think there's something to be said though for when people. Oh, here's another thing too. Like, I'm still sort of open to having a child. Like I suppose if I had like a vision of my child from the future saying that they want to fucking come down here, and they told me where to meet their mother, and then that really happened that way, I'm sort of open to something like that. But it's gonna be too late here soon. And I think there's something to be said for couples who really are in love, and they have a kid out of an act of passion, out of true love for each other. I think that's how you make high quality individuals. I think that, like, when you have a kid, like, just to have it, you don't have any thought or intention behind it, it makes lesser quality individuals. This comes from something Math Powerland said once, which, not that I believe anything that bullshit artist said, but this is one thing he said I really liked. He said that when his father and his mother, you know, got together to make him, he like prayed to God to, you know, to have a beautiful child or something like that. I think there's something special to that. And I am, like, I would say that I'm agnostic. I tend to, I don't know what the fuck, like, the thing is, I'm stuck here in a meat suit, so my perceptions and my abilities to know what the fuck is really going on are kind of stunted. So, who the fuck knows? Damn, I forgot what I was going to talk about. That's embarrassing. So yeah, that's the other thing I think it could be too, is that, like, that's what the reason I am in a man body this time is like it's a fucking form of punishment, because I was a woman before, and I was just a piece of shit, just cock teasing men, just like causing all kinds of fucked up, fucking problems, and this life is here to teach me that it's not cool to fuck men around and cock tease them and all the kind of bad shit women do, I hope I've learned my lesson. And like I said I'm not gay, but like, there's some, how do you say, like, the type of women that I find myself most attracted to are the ones that are really tall and masculine, have kind of deeper voices. Not that every woman is like that as trans, because there's plenty of cisgendered women that are like that. Like, there's this one girl in high school I went to, she had really fucking broad shoulders, like a fucking man. And I was just like, oh fuck. I was extremely attracted to her. So yeah, I guess that makes me a little gay. So let's talk about some other signs that I was, not normal. One of which was, like, one time I was with Bimmy and King Pig, and they were doing this thing where they were doing a woman call. They were being like, dick, 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 dick. Like, being offensive to women and shit. And I just, whenever I'd be around my guy friends and they do shit like that, I'd just be like, what the fuck? You guys are fucking retarded pigs. I never was into that kind of shit. Like, what the fuck? And like, so when I first started having cactus barbs grow in on my scrotum, I really fucking, that should have been a sign right there. Like, I don't like this. This is like, do other guys have a problem with this? It's just, I've never really talked to anyone about this. Like, other men out there, when you start having, like, your pubic hairs growing, was it like having razor wires growing out of your scrotum? That it hurts, number one. The sensation of the razor wires growing out of your scrotum, that hurts. And they curve around and they stab back into my scrotum like razor wire stabbing, and it's fucking painful as fuck. Super fucking unpleasant to deal with. And I was trying to, like, get hair removal back then when I was like 13 or 14 and shit. I was trying to get, like, nair. I don't know. I had like I was arguing with my mother about this shit. Obviously didn't disclose what it was for. I was like trying to get, like, nair or something. I don't know. I was arguing with my mother and, like, fucking grabbed the wheel. And I yanked the fucking wheel, almost caused a car accident because of this shit. Couldn't society have been like, okay, you seem to really not like the things that are happening to you from puberty setting in. Let's try to fucking see if you have this, and maybe we can get you some fucking help, so you don't end up where you're stuck halfway, where you're like kind of androgynous looking 40-year-old person plucking their fucking scrotum for half their fucking life. And here's another sign that I have some kind of anomaly. Like, I was always taller than everybody. You know how, like, they say that, like, girls are, like, of the same age are, like, taller than boys, and then the boys catch up? That wasn't me. I was always taller than everybody. Like, I have some kind of chromosomal anomaly for sure. Like, my dad was a bodybuilder. My dad saw that pumping iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he decided he wanted to be a bodybuilder to, avoid his gender dysphoria. And he always had a hard time with it, because me and him have the same issue where we have slightly feminine features. Like, I got a booty, and I got, like, kind of wider hips than a guy would have. And he would, like, do his bodybuilder thing. His bodybuilders, they try to have that, like, V shape with the, I can't do it with my hands. Just imagine, like, a triangle that's upside down where the pointy part is facing down. That's what you want to, like, have as a male bodybuilder. But he didn't have that shit. He had more of an hourglass shape. So that's that. Hold on, I'm just gonna look at my notes again. Alright, let's shift gears randomly again. So in the previous video I was talking about that left winger chick who I'll put. Always look at my in my description, the video description. I'll have a link to everything I'm talking about. So I was talking about this video before. There was this left-winger chick. She had a video about kids' rights or whatever, and she was like proud of the fact that her daughter went and got some anti-vaxxers kids all juiced up on the pokies. Yeah, and she was proud of that. Like, kids don't have rights for a reason. That's why they say parent or guardian, hence the word guardian. Like, you're too young to be trusted with making decisions like getting a pokey of some sketchy stuff that I'm not even allowed to talk about on this platform. Like, granted, everybody's different. You know, there's some kids that they're 12 years old and they're basically a fully grown up in the head, and then you got people like me where I'm like 25 years old and I still haven't grown up. And I'm like old as fuck now, and I still don't even feel like an adult, like Tim Osmond would say. Tim Osmond's trans too, I've heard, but he made that live stream private. I wonder why. Maybe it was because he was being super like offensive and he didn't want to get his account you know, taken down. But whatever, that's not my issue. You want to talk shit? That's another thing. Like, if, say, I did transition, either back then or now, I don't have a problem with you calling me a fucking man in women's clothing or whatever you want to fucking say to me. I think freedom of speech is more important than people's feelings. Like, if you want to be trans, you need to sign up for the Institute for Thicker Skin. Day one. Because you just have to fucking be tough and deal with it. Like, I don't agree with laws being passed, like in Canada, where they'll send you to jail for misgendering people, but then they also have a place called Slave Lake. That's why I did that show. I was like, you guys send people to jail for misgendering, but you have a place called Slave Lake. That. Either you are that kind of country or you're not. Like, pick a fucking lane. So yeah, like, I disagree with like the way they kind of want to like push all this LGBT shit on kids. Like, the parents should be telling the kids about that shit. And here's the thing about that, like, say you have a kid that they kind of start showing signs that they're fucking trans, but they're in an environment where they're not being socially contagioned. They're not getting a social, like, they're in an environment where there's no social contagions to make them think about that. That'd be one thing. It's a whole different fucking thing when you guys have like a bunch of fucking pro-trans shit and like happy fun time. I disagree with all that shit. Just, we as a society should just be like, okay, trans people, gay people, they fucking exist. Who gives a shit? We don't give a shit. Like, we're gonna give you your rights, equal rights under the fucking law, and we're not gonna like praise that shit, and we're not gonna like condemn that shit. It just is what it fucking is. The kids are really impressionable. I think it's really kind of fucked up that, like, granted, there's part of me wishes that they would have fucking done that shit to me so I could be living a better fucking life right now. But then again, if that was the case, then, you know, it would have fucking drawn a bunch of other fucking kids into that shit that didn't fucking need that shit, that would have just grown out of that shit. I didn't fucking grow out of that shit, okay? Like I said, I would spend 14 hours a fucking day just ripping this shit out of my face. I don't like anything about this goddamn meat sack body. I don't mind being white. That doesn't mean like validation boy. And you know, that's another thing. My friend King Pig, he hated being white. He's like, I want to have more fucking flavor or whatever. I'm like, dude, really? You're like, are you a, what's the word for it? King Pig wanted to be transracial. That's fucking hilarious. King Pig was a rape victim, though. Someone in his family raped him in his little behind at some point, which I don't fucking want to make. I don't want to make fun of him for that shit, but that's. And he has this complex where he's like wants to prove to everyone that he's not gay by screwing as many women as he can. He's like proud of that shit. It's like, dude, nobody cares that you have sex with all these aesthetically unpleasing women. Nobody cares. Like, you have a kid. Why don't you go be a fucking father to your kid instead of going and getting drunk and screwing a bunch of women and playing your video games? Be a fucking father. Then you could really be a man, you know? And there's so many fake men. We're getting into another thing I want to talk about. So many fucking fake men that they have their beard, they're like all jacked and shit. It's like, you're not a man though. You don't know anything about these food additives. You don't know anything about anything. You can't even protect your family from aspartame and MSG in the food supply. And you're walking around with your fucking beard. You're a fake man, okay? And just looking at... I'm so traumatized from years of vivisecting the facial hair out of my face with tweezers that just looking at facial hair, it just disgusts me. Like, the way a normal person would see, like, blood and guts or something gross like that, you just like, I don't want to look at that. Ew. Obscure my eyes from that. That's what it's like for me when I have to look at people's fucking facial hair. With very few exceptions. Like, I don't mind it on Jed, because he actually looks pretty good like that. And I know that Jed's an actual real fucking man. Who's informed about shit. Who's speaking out against this shit going on. Jed's a real fucking man. Other exceptions include, like, Chuck Norris and Bob Ross, because Bob Ross's body is like... was mimicking a paintbrush, the way he had, like, the hair and the beard. So I didn't mind on him. And then when Jason Statham guy, where he's got, like, the stubble and the kind of stubbly head, that guy pulls off that fucking look really good, but generally I'm just disgusted by facial hairs. And you know the guys where they got that shit where it's just like ZZ Top and shit? Like, how do you even live like that? Like, every time you eat, it must just get everywhere. Like, you're sitting there, just shave that shit off, bro. And you know the other thing I fucking hate is when guys have a fucking beard, but they don't want to reveal the fact that they're bald, so they shave their head, and then, like, they get their sideburns, and they get their sideburns just, you know, like, perfect on each side. Bro, just have stubble on your head. You're sitting there trying to shave your sideburns. Faggoty shit, bro. Just let it be bald. Hide the fact, like that one guy from Cowboy Bebop who has the beard and leads to his, like, bald Picard thing on the back of his head where that's all the hair he has. Alright, let me take a break and look at my notes. Alright, let's talk some more about how testosterone, like, ruined my body, in my opinion. I remember how I said how I was bigger than everyone. I don't know. I got stretch marks still because my body got huge. My body was just, like, growing fast all the time. Like I said, I was always taller than everyone. There was never a time when girls were taller than me. I don't know. Another thing I fucked up was my eyebrows, because before puberty I had, like, normal looking eyebrows, but then they got, like, fucking huge, and then my eyebrows started having this thing where, like, it would hurt. Like, the eyebrow hairs would, and this was before I even started plucking the crap out of my eyebrows. My eyebrows would feel like the hair would, like, hurt inside of my skin. And I had this one thing where, like, there was this, particularly on the right eyebrow, I would have these things growing that they were like metal. It was like a metal stub in there, and you would touch it and it would actually prick my finger. And I don't even know what that, I think it was like Morgellons, or something like that. I've heard about this where the shit gets into you and it makes your hair synthetic. I think that's what was going on with I don't know if that was from puberty or Morgellons or what, but it sucks. And at one point, I had, like I said, I had this one thing in my eyebrow where it was like, it wasn't even like, it was like made of metal, it felt like. And it was in there and it hurt to be in there, and it was sharp to the touch. So at some point I plucked that out and it didn't even hurt, it felt good. And then, like, a few years later, it was like after Northridge Fashion Center 10 stopped film operations, it was kind of a really bad thing for me, because I was feeling like I'm living in one of those worst case scenario types of things where, like, the bad guys took over the country and no one gives a shit type of thing. And, like, that's why I started ripping out my facial hair, because I'm like, fuck it. But then I started ripping out my eyebrows too, because, well, I tried to fix my eyebrows by plucking them. Well, I tried shaving, like, the top part of my eyebrows seek professional help if you don't like your eyebrows, for God's sake. You're just gonna fuck it up like I did. And, you know, I did that. I tried to fix it and then just made it look terrible. So then I just plucked it all out. Like 2013, I plucked out my whole eyebrow hairs, and I pretty much haven't stopped since then. And the fucked up thing about that is, my skin has gotten used to there not being hair there. So, like, when my eyebrow hairs start to grow in, it's just super uncomfortable. In fact, New Year's 2023, yeah, I tried to quit plucking my eyebrows. I only made it 8 days. And this shit it's like going through a heroin. I've never been addicted to heroin. But it's what I would imagine heroin withdrawal to be like. Because it was just like, I was just like suffering. I was watching Dateline. I was just like, I'm going to have to go pluck this shit afterwards because this bugged me too much. And I did. I went and did it. And it felt really good. And then I drove to In-N-Out to eat afterwards. And then I felt like pleasure coming down from like my eyebrows and going through my hand and into the very tips of my fingers. It was very strange. So I have that issue that my eyebrows are screwed. I don't even know what I'm going to do about that. Just learn how to fucking draw them on. Oh well, it's not the worst. I'm addicted to plucking my eyebrows. Plus the other thing about that is, so I started getting electrolysis on my face, and you can't be plucking your face when you're getting electrolysis. You have to let it grow out. Which is why I stopped drinking, is because like I'm going to have facial hair for an indefinite period of time here. I can't drink because this could just make me super fucking toxic. I haven't really drank since. When I said I was drunk earlier, I was drunk on kombucha. I drank a couple of kombuchas and it made me it makes you a little buzzed. Not like drunk though. What else was I going to say about that? I don't know, I think that's it. But yeah, like, I mean, not being able to pluck my face, it pretty much made me pluck my eyebrows like turbo pluck. So, it's done. Who needs... And the other thing about that is I'm so shocked and appalled by the things society is doing that like I don't have any more expressions to give, kind of like literally. No more expressions to give. The expression is gone now, as I'm just expressionless, and my face is expressionless for the things this society is doing. Anyways, let's talk about like let's expand some more on some of the other things I was talking about. Like, so I got $100,000 when I was like 18 or 19 years old, and my sibling was a couple years younger, got the same, got 100,000, and like, cause my mother was taking care of my dad's parents after he died, and she didn't get no money for that shit. Even though my auntie could have thrown her a couple thousand for, you know, taking care of her parents, my mother didn't get nothing from that. And because she was jealous of her own children, she decided to abandon her own children and go move to Montana. And I lived there for a little while, but I left. I would start living in hotel rooms and basically depleting my money. And I have none left today. And same with my sibling. They did the same thing with it, because we were both so young. We didn't know what we were going to go do with ourselves. And our mother was such a cunt that she didn't really want to be a mother to us anymore after father died. She just was like, well, hurry up and turn 18 and run along, fuck off. I don't really want to be a mother anymore. Me watching television and enjoying my life is more important to me than ensuring that my children have a future. Yeah. And it's not me that's calling my mother a cunt. I told this story to this guy named Brad, and he said the same thing. He called my mother a cunt, and I wasn't going to disagree. Pretty cunty thing to do, to be jealous of your children getting money and to utterly fuck them over when they need you the most. It would have been nice to like be able to stay in a stable environment. I could have got some job and like figured out what I'm going to do with myself. But instead, I was just blowing through tons of money, trying to just have a home, staying in hotel rooms and shit. And then I met that Israeli bitch, and she finished off my money because I was kind of simping. She got me to buy her like some $10,000 piece of jewelry, and then I had like only like 5,000 left after that, and she simped that money out of me too. And this dumb bitch, she thought I was rich because I bought her that. And I'm like, dude, no, like, I'm pretending to be normal here. I'm trying to get you in my life so I can parade you around as my fake girlfriend to my friends so they think I'm normal. I never told her that, but... And then, you know, like she got whatever other money out of it. Not by legal means. Like when we got divorced, she didn't get nothing of mine. Not that there was anything really left except my vehicles. And she was just evil, though. You know, the current administration is doing this thing where they're kicking people out of the country. You know, if we're all honest with ourselves, there's some people who should be kicked out of the country, but But just blanket kicking people out of the country is not the solution. But my ex-wife, she was certainly someone who should have been kicked out of the country because she didn't want to get a citizenship. No, she didn't want to because it was too expensive, and because she doesn't have any loyalties to this country, like at all. None of them did. They just wanted to run amok in this country and just. She always owed money. She always owed money to everybody. When I was married, I went to see the same John Travolta's doctor. I saw the same doctor as John Travolta at one point, and she owed him money. These people always act like they got big dicks, they got like a big bank account and all this shit, but they never have anything. They're always just bullshitters. Like they always can't pay their bills. And when I lived with her, they had satellite TV and cable at the same time, and they would always do shit like that. And it's like, hello. Why don't you people live within your means? But they're not interested in that. They were only interested in screwing over everyone as much as possible, because that's why they didn't want citizenship. They just want to live it up in America until they are not welcome anymore, that they've burnt so many bridges and they've screwed over so many people that they have no choice but to go back to Israel. Am I being anti-Semitic? I don't think so, because these are just observations. And like I said, I don't think all Jewish people are like that. Just some. And there was this guy on Big Issue. He made this fucking comment to me, because like there's this one guy, he said the classic statement that he said the money is the root of all evil, and I corrected him. I said, no, it's the love of money is the root of all evil. And this one guy comes up to me in the comment section. He goes like, all this hissing at the face shit about Jews. And I want to go back to him and say, oh, so Jews are the only one who could be money-grubbing parasites, right? There's plenty of non-Jews that are completely screwing over their fellow man for fucking money. People are fucking retarded. If anyone ever says they're all like that, then you need to just walk away, because you're dealing with a fucking mental case. Because everybody's different. There's no demographic of people they're all the same fucking way. Everybody's fucking different. You can get a bunch of people who are from the same country, have the same skin color, and you're gonna find that they're a bunch of different fucking attitudes and feelings towards life and shit. Let's talk about some other shit. Here, I'm gonna put a link. Hold on, I'm gonna switch the camera around. I'll put the link in the description, but here's you can see if this, you can, try to scan your screen and see if that works. Here's a Emma Thorne video about Blair White, and here's a Mary Chu video about Blair White also. So if you can't read that, I'll put it in the, hold on, I'm gonna read the comments I made on, damn, I'm gonna pause it again. Okay, I'm gonna read the comments I left on Mary Chu's video. And this comment was before Blair White became a Christian too. We're gonna talk shit about that in a minute. I said, I like Blair White, but keep in mind she's exactly like Alex Jones, a shock jock whom you can't take what she says at face value. Emma Thorne did a great video making Blair look like a clown. Surprise, Blair is just pretending that video doesn't exist, not accepting any responsibility for being incorrect. I'm so embarrassed to live in the American empire. With January 6th, Trump should have been smart enough to know things would go sour, or it's what he wanted. So either he's dumb or an intentional baddie. Both are reasons not to support the guy. And let's talk a little bit of shit about Blair White. Like, you're Christian now, Blair White? I mean, like, if it was me and I was the chick with the dick, I'd probably just stay out of religions that don't want me. I don't even know. I can't really like talk shit and say like she's just faking it. I don't know. Maybe because granted, some people have a lot of traumatizing shit they've been through. I've never been molested or anything like that. Like if you want to say that's why I have these fucking feelings. No, I was never molested. I never had anything bad happen to me like that. But Blair did. And Christianity, it does help a lot of people with, and like a lot of people that have done really fucking bad things, that helps them too. So I can't really judge, but it's like, come on, Blair, like, you're first in line to get lynched being Christian. Like, I just don't, whatever, do whatever makes you fucking happy, but like, I just keep it to myself. Like, if you want to be like, why you even gonna tell the internet about that shit? Just go to church and don't even fucking mention it. Like, I don't know, whatever. I will talk a little bit of shit about Christianity though. Like, there's like a checklist for getting into heaven, and like one of those things on the checklist, if you have a pee-pee, is you have to have your foreskin chopped off. So I just want to say to Blair, like, did you get your lady foreskin chopped off so you can go to Christian heaven? So you can go to chicks with dicks heaven? Okay, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to say anything more about that. Like, if you're, I just have trouble respecting Christianity because you guys chop off the foreskins of babies, and then you guys turn around and you're like, trans is bad, and like, okay, but you guys chop off baby dick tips, but like, that's good though, right? Because God didn't mean to have for the penis to have that. How do we live in a society that chops off baby parts? You guys do medical amputations to babies for religious reasons. I mean, okay, granted, like 200 years ago, it was probably good to chop off the foreskins of boys or whatever, because that way they wouldn't get dick infections and get dick cheese and all that stuff, so they could survive and reproduce and have more future generations of people. We have sanitation now. Just teach your kid how to clean their foreskin area. Come on! Stop mutilating children and stop mutilating intersex babies. Oh, we have to correct them. We have to make them a boy or a girl. Just leave them the hell alone. And then they can grow up and decide what they want to do with their abundance of sexual organs. Let's just talk about some other random shit. So, like I said, I've been plucking my scrotum for like 11 years. And last winter, I discovered an interesting benefit to this, which is that since there's so much hair removed now from my scrotum, when it gets like all scrunched up in the wintertime, it no longer hurts. I used to like put a heat lamp on my I used to put a heat lamp on my scrotum before I started plucking, because it would get scrunched up in the winter and it would just hurt because there's razor wires in there and they're getting squished together and it's hurting me more. But now it doesn't. Surprise, when you remove the razor wires, it's more comfortable to be alive. Crazy, right? Who would think that having razor wires growing out of your scrotum would be really unpleasant and it would make your life better when you get rid of that shit? Like I said, I'm just kind of going randomly all over the place here, but here's a fear that I have. I have a fear that the government is going to find out that I did this to my face and like, I'm comfortable now. Like, they're going to want to cut of that. They're going to be like, hey, you're comfortable now. You made your life better. We want a piece of that. We're going to tax you on having less gender dysphoria, basically. And that's a fear that I have. You know, it's like I'm afraid. I'm constantly under terror of what the government's going to do next. They're going to have another lockdown. They're going to make it where I can't have my rest of my facial hair destroyed because we're going to be putting another lockdown. And it's like, say I want to start a business where I do cars, you know, I do internal combustion engine type of stuff related to that. Yeah, Vast Daddy Trump, he's rolled back these EV mandates, but what happens when the next guy gets in? They're just going to double down on, like, you have to have an EV, we'll put you in jail for even thinking about having a gasoline car. I'm under terror. It's like, you don't know what the government's going to do next, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm tired of living under terror from this bullshit. So here's something I meant to talk about in the other video that's actually kind of important about the whole electrolysis thing. I'm probably scared off anyone who's interested in information about electrolysis because I'm go back and forth towards conspiratard shit. There's not really many people who have my problem who are also conspiratards. That's why I'm not really welcome in any camp. But I'm lucky that I have people like Jed to watch my shit. And I forgot my train of thought I was on. Shit. Yeah, so here's an important point I wanted to make about hair removal on the face. Like, plucking your face a bunch is not... It's sort of a life hack because of the way that when you do finally get electrolysis, it doesn't hurt to pull the hairs out, actually, but it's not really a life hack because it causes the hairs to become distorted. My electrolysis technician, she often has to, like, dig around inside my skin because the hairs are so distorted and ingrown. it's really just, if you're at the point where you're starting to like pluck all your facial hair out, just stop and go get electrolysis. You'll thank yourself. Your future self will thank you. So let's roll into some other shit. Like, manhood is fucking horrible. Like, maybe I just have extra fucking libido or something, but like, it sucks to have, you know how it is when you're young, you got a fucking erection that is just like, that's the face your dick is making because it's so hard, like, and you know, like, you can find the most beautiful woman in the world and get married, but then you're still gonna want to look at other women, you're still gonna want to fuck other women. Like, it's never satiated. That's the thing I hate about this shit. So let's talk about some other stuff some other reasons why these meat sack bodies are abusive. So, like, say you're born female, right? And, you know, you're like a girly kind of girl, and that's, you know, you just want to be a girl and shit. You're born a girl, right? And you just want to be girly and shit. But then you grow up and you get really tall and you have like hardly any tits, and everyone calls you a trans, and you're not. You're just, that's the way your body just happens to develop, and that shit sucks. And then you have the opposite. You're born female, right? Let's say you're born female and you're into sports and shit, and that's your whole life is sports. But then puberty happens, and all of a sudden you have giant watermelons on your chest, and then you don't get very tall. And it's like, I can't play sports with these fucking watermelons, and this fucking sucks. Why couldn't the other woman get the big watermelon tits? I don't want this shit. You see what I mean? Not saying, ow, I bit my tongue. Fuck. Not saying that second example, getting her titties chopped off, is like a good solution, but like, some women get breast reductions because of that shit. Like, what even is that? There's this one girl at my high school. She had the biggest tits. They were like beach ball size. I'm not even kidding. They're like, boom, out to here. One time I saw her coming around a corner before she even got there because her boobs were so big. Now that might seem cool and all, but like, having to live with that, you'd have to get a breast reduction. There'd be no other way. You wouldn't even be able to live your life or drive a car because they'd be hitting the steering wheel. Like, what is that? Some women, their boobs get that big, and then other women, the women that actually would like their boobs to be bigger, they just have nothing. So this shit is just abusive. Like, medical science needs to be able to fucking catch up already. This bullshit. Okay, we're almost done. I've nearly covered everything I want to talk about, but let's talk about Mary for a little bit. The Mary Chu. Mary is this lady who's a trans woman in England. She's also like me, that she's not gay, but, you know, we have the same issue that we both want to feminize ourselves. We have the same kind of stories. Like, she had long hair in high school and was always had derogatory things said, and, you know, except she did something about it, you know, at 24, instead of just being like me and just like, oh, just pretend to be normal for the rest of my life, that'd be fine. That was a terrible British accent. I'm usually better than that. But yeah, she didn't take the route of pretending to be normal. But anyways, let's talk about Mary and kind of her people. Like, Mary's pretty cool. Mary doesn't call herself a woman. She used to call herself a woman. What I said to Mary was that we're kind of the same, but like I'm a more soy version of Mary. She has less soy opinions than me. And she's, you know, she's cool with people calling her whatever. She doesn't give a shit. She's like, I don't call myself a woman now, which, like, I kind of agree. If I was, you know, trans, I'd call myself a trans woman, not a woman, you know. But then again, who knows what kind of person I'd be if I got indoctrinated to this LGBT fucking... I think I would have been like Blair White, and I would have been like, these people are fucking nuts. I don't identify with the way these people think at all. Like, at all. These people are fucking nut bars. But let's talk about her people in her chat. She has the same kind of problem as Big Issues, that she has some really dog shit people in her chat. So she had this video about Yuko EX, and then she had people in the chat calling Yuko a pedo. Like, why are you gonna say that shit about people? Like, you need to fucking boot people in your chat with saying that shit. Like, if you want to say that shit about people, fucking provide some fucking proof of that shit, because otherwise you're just fucking needlessly slandering someone. I mean, granted, Yuko is like trying to New Game Plus children, which is still kind of fucked up. But she's not like trying to diddle people's kids. What are you calling her a fucking pedo and shit? That's kind of fucked up, and that's the kind of people that Mary has in her chat. And it's kind of gross. But people can think what they fucking want. Just as long as you're not hurting other people. I think slandering people like that is kind of hurting people. I wish people could just have respect for each other and shit. I guess we're a long way from that. Like, so here's some other unrelated stuff I was thinking about. Like, let's see if I can find some. Like, you guys know, like, there's trash out in the desert. People just dump their trash out in the desert. And one day I was walking around and I was just looking at all the trash dumped in the desert, and I'm just like, this is what's holding humanity back. People act like little children. Like, nobody wants to take responsibility for anything. Just go dump it in the desert. It's somebody else's problem now. That's why humanity is not allowed out in space, because we're like a toddler race that found their father's shotgun in the closet, aka nuclear weapons. There's good people in the world, but then we're just being held back by people who just don't want to grow up and act like responsible adults. Like all these people who drive around, they do things to their car, like put dark brake light tint on their car brake lights, so you can't tell when they're slowing down, and you can't tell when they're signaling. And that's going to cause a car crash. It's going to be your fault, because you did that to your car. The dash cam will show you had brake light tint. Now you're going to be held accountable for manslaughter, because you killed somebody because you made it that they couldn't tell that you were slowing down. You caused a car accident for no reason, because you're trying to stylize your car. Brake lights are on there for a reason. It's to let people see that you're slowing down for turn signals. But we don't care about that shit in America. They don't even do any kind of safety inspection. Like, and you know how cars do this thing where the turns, some cars do, when your turn signal bulb is burnt out and you hit the turn signal, it will click faster. Click, 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 click. It's doing that to tell you that your turn signal bulb is burnt out, so that you fix it. But apparently people don't understand this, and they just drive around like that. Oh well. If they're even using their turn signals anyways. I think some of these people, like, literally don't understand what turn signals are for. So we got a long way to go. Even, like, you gotta try to have some compassion for people. Like, bigots don't have compassion. It's like, okay, it's like this. It's like, oh, headaches aren't real. I've never had a headache. Anyone who says they have a headache, they're just a sissy poo, and they should just toughen up. But then it's a different story when it happens to you, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, just because you guys are comfortable in your own skin doesn't mean everybody is. Because believe me, I'm very much not comfortable in my own skin. And if I could push a button that said, turn me female, even if I'm just reconstructed man parts, and I was enough to make me fucking passable, like, when I push this button, it makes me have the body I would have if I turned trans when I was 19. Yes, I would push the button instead of being stuck like this, where I'm kind of in between and shit. So I guess I'll leave you with that. With this, I should say, that what would you rather have? Somebody who's pretending to be normal, they're completely dysfunctional, they can barely even live their life because they're so unhappy, they're so dysfunctional that they cannot be a productive member of society? Or would you rather have that person be a productive member of society and go about their business? And here's something else I meant to talk about in the other video too, which is that I do disagree with trans women hooking up with men and not telling them they're trans. You need to disclose that shit. Someone in Mary's chat said that's rape if you're a trans woman and you get with a guy and you don't tell them you're trans, or if you even kiss them and shit. I guess kissing them is kind of, I wouldn't say that's rape, but definitely, like, if you don't tell them you're trans by the end of the first date, certainly before you go to bed with them, then you're kind of fucked up. If people would just be trans but be responsible about it. As much as I was talking shit about Blair White, she's very much like providing a good example for how trans people should live to not be pissing off non-trans people, sort of thing. Because if trans people live their lives right, then it's really no threat to anybody else. It's really not. Like, it doesn't affect anybody. Like, as long as you're not trying to New Game Plus children or anything like that, you're trans, you're just like minding your own business, living your life, you're not hurting anybody. So you have the same right to life as everybody else. But like, there was some guy, he like took his family hostage, shot the dog, did all this shit, and he blamed LGBT people. Wonderful. And that's another thing I wanted to get to too, is like, I don't like the idea of like grouping everyone together under the queer, like, queer is a slur, and as far as I'm concerned, it's always going to be a slur. It's LGBT, okay? And like, okay, like say, non-binary people. You know, I'm not going to like make fun of non-binary people, 'cause it's kind of bullshit, like, oh, so you're a thing that doesn't require any kind of surgery or anything like that. Well, that's convenient. It's a convenient, like, fad for you to get into. And like I said, no disrespect if that's how someone feels. But then again, you can't expect people to call you weird pronouns. Like, you can't get mad. Like, non-binary is just a militant version of being androgynous. It's like, I'm androgynous, but like, don't you dare call me a male or come on, man. If you look like a man, someone's gonna call you man. If you look like a female, someone's gonna use female pronouns. We live in a society where there is men and women, and that's the most common thing there is, either men or women. And that's why it's better to be trans than to be this, whatever it is I am right now, because at least you're picking a lane, all right? Like, that's what we expect it to be, either be a man or a woman. And like, if you want to be something else other than that, you can do that, but just don't expect everyone to go along with that, all right? Like I said, go to the Institute for Thicker Skin, sign up, and you'll be able to handle anything anyone ever says about you. So I think that's all there is to say. We just have to try to respect one another. This crazy old man I know, well, he's not crazy, but this wise old man I know, he said to me once that, you know, you should be able to hear anybody out. You should be able to hear out Hitler and treat him with respect and hear what the man has to say. And that's a very bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's like, you know what I mean? People are gonna be like, oh, you fucking love Hitler. No, I didn't say I fucking love Hitler. I just said you should fucking hear people out and treat them with fucking respect. Unless they're like, you know, like, unless you're like some other non-white thing and someone's saying, oh, you have to okay, here's another thing I was talking about. Like, there's this one chick I met on Bigot Shoot. I forget what her name is, but her icon is like an anime girl sticking a fork into a toaster. And she deleted her account on there. Well, the way Bigot Shoot works is you have like an account you can comment with, but then your like channel is attached to that, and she deleted her channel. But she still has a thing she can comment with, but she like deleted her channel with her content. But anyways, she was always being said by Christian people to her, like, oh, you're Asian, you don't have a soul, and all this fucked up shit. Like, she should die. She doesn't have the right to life and shit. From Christians. Christians are telling her that shit. Like, people like that. It's like, no, I really don't give a fuck what you have to say if you're saying she doesn't have the right to life just because she's Asian. What are you, fucking mental? And how do you people call yourselves Christians and you say this kind of shit? Like, what the fuck? Validation Boy thinks he's the fucking master race or whatever, but he's not out there saying that everyone else has to die and they don't have the right to live. What the fuck is wrong with people? Everybody's, like, in Star Trek 5, Kirk says, you know what, Spock? Everybody's human. And then Spock says, you know what, that's some offensive shit. Really, though. We're all human, even weird space aliens. You know, we're all alive. We all deserve a certain level of respect from one another. And you just gotta treat people with respect unless they're threatening your life or something like that. If people are just minding their own business and they're not hurting you, then they have the same right to life and they deserve a certain level of respect and be treated with compassion and shit. Because that's what you would want. Alright, I think that's all. You know, protect positive squad. And just peace and love and shit. And the Bigot Shoot house is gone, but the toilet remains. Oh, the Bigot Shoot house. Let's climb under here and end the video, I guess. Let's climb under here. I have to take shelter. I have to take shelter in a racist house. I'm living in the burnt out remains of a racist house. It was so racist, it had to be burnt down. It had to be. Alright, that's all, guys. Take care. Love one another. See ya.